Today is the 15th day of the 7th month, and I am Bob McGee. I am preaching today at the graveyard. Yep, there's some people think the dead are dead. Well, they are dead, but they're not dead to God. No. The dead are not dead to God, okay? Just get over it. And the devil's not under my feet, and he's not under yours. And whoever's singing that song, in some building today, it sounds good, but it's not true. And that's the case with most everything that the devil comes up with. It sounds good. And it is just so true that it just has to be true. And it is true, distorted. Distorted truth is corrupt. I read somewhere in the Bible one day, let no corrupt communication come from your mouth. Well, I do the best I can with that. I really do. I really don't want any corrupt communication coming from my mouth. I would like people to know the truth, the real truth, rather than the truth that they heard from lying-mouthed preachers. Well, Bob, you better be careful. Yes, I had better be careful. If I am a lying-mouthed preacher, I'm in trouble. But if I'm not a lying-mouthed preacher, it'd be okay for me to talk about them, wouldn't it? I think so. Lying-mouthed preachers. Jesus of Nazareth. 3 words. Jesus of Nazareth. Let me just add a little bit to that. Jesus of Nazareth was crucified at Jerusalem, and God raised him from the dead, just as he had said. That happened. That happened. God raised Jesus from the dead. I have not seen Jesus. I have not seen God. But I have seen the image of God. Sure have. Every time I look in the mirror, I see the image of God. Isn't that amazing? Imagine that. Me looking in the mirror and saying, there is the image of God. And be telling the truth. Because I am the image of God. Yep, that's me, Bob McGee, image of God. Yeah, the thought came and I let it go. Some things are better not said sometimes when it's, perfectly appropriate at other times. But Jesus of Nazareth is not God Almighty. Don't let that come as too big of a shock to you. But Bob McGee has said it again. Jesus of Nazareth is not God Almighty. Jesus of Nazareth is not my Father in heaven. Jesus of Nazareth is not giving life and breath to me. Jesus of Nazareth did speak and let people know the truth. And every time he did, it looks like if you read carefully, they wanted to kill him. Who wanted to kill him, Bob? Jews. The people at the temple. Yeah, he went in the temple one day and drove out all the money changers. Kind of, cleaned house, so to speak. He told them he wasn't impressed with what they was doing in his Father's house. Well, Bob is not impressed. It's what they're doing in all of these wonderful houses that people have built, in all the wonderful towns all over the earth. And they built the thing, and they set out front, "Come worship with us." My God, why hast thou forsaken me?" were words Jesus said while hanging on the cross before he breathed what was his last breath for a few days. And some people I know would tell me Jesus is not breathing now. Jesus can't breathe in heaven. Why not? If angels can eat, and I'm sure it looks like they breathe, and when they walk around they talk. Yeah, angels talk. If one would appear right here beside me today, he could stand right here, and he and I could have a conversation, and you could see him. Yep, that's what would happen if the angel appeared. They're not invisible angels when they appear. God and a couple of them showed up walking down the road one day. Yeah, it was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was the God of Abraham. They were headed to Sodom. Yeah, the only other place where I can think about God coming down was when he came down to the city that was being built, and it was supposed to reach into heaven. That was at the time that there was only one language being spoken. Only one. Everybody had the same language. There were not 2, 3, or 4. There was only one. Yep. And all of the people there were descendants of Noah, a righteous man. Yep. Noah was a righteous man. And God blessed Noah. And God came down to the city where they were building. You can read about it. And that's where, from there, God took a couple of people and placed them all over the earth and gave each of them a language of their own. All he had to do was send out 2. So whatever the tribe, it started with 2. A man and a woman. Yep. That's what started in the garden. That's what stayed, out of the garden. The man and the wife. One man, one woman produces a nation. Yep. It's amazing what God can do with one man and one woman. Some people really should read a Bible and see what God has done and forget what these well-educated people tell them God has done. You can read it for yourself, folks. I read it for myself. Yep. God created. Jesus created nothing. Yep. That's the end of part 1, which may be, a part of 3. I just don't know.